turning to a new story this hour, a radical extremist group connected to the death of a U.S. Border Patrol agent. And now more details are coming out about this group, including their ties to at least 4 murders. A January traffic stop in Vermont near the Canadian border left Border Patrol agent David Maland dead and launched a cross-country investigation that led to an FBI search of a property outside of Chapel Hill, North Carolina, connected with these 6 people, who officials believe are part of a group called the Zizians. Officials say they are linked to murders in Vermont, in Pennsylvania, and California. Neighbors in North Carolina say the group dressed in long black trench coats and frequently walked into the woods at night. The group's leader, Jack Lasota, known as Ziz, faked her own death in 2022, only to reappear and then evade law enforcement. She remains on the run tonight. We do want to bring in NewsNation national security contributor and former FBI and CIA special agent Tracy Walder. Tracy, thanks for joining us on this.
Thank you for having me, Natasha.
And Tracy, officials say this group met online. They shared similar views, from radical veganism to anarchist beliefs. What are you tracking about this group? Does this appear to be a cult, in your opinion? And what does it tell you if the members were willing to kill for the group leader?
You know, it doesn't necessarily appear to be a cult, rather a domestic terrorism group, quite frankly, because they share sort of that political ideology in some of the goals that they have. As you mentioned before, it sprang from rationalism, which is actually a very mundane belief. However, they really radicalized that and became, I guess we could say, anarchists. And in terms of why they were allegedly attempting some of these murders and going through with some of them was because they didn't believe that a lot of the rules of society applied to them. And so a lot of this, in my opinion, has all the kind of hallmarks of a domestic terrorist group rather than a cult.
And the members of this extremist group are all highly educated computer scientists. We know the leader even has a connection to NASA. Is any of that surprising to you?
Yes and no. I think we all have stereotypes, right, of who joins these groups, but obviously those stereotypes have sort of been broken a lot by society and what we have seen. And so, yes, you are correct. You know, the I guess founder of this group, she was an intern for NASA at Google and some other groups. Many of them have computer science degrees, and so the education level isn't necessarily surprising, but they've sort of wrapped in this anti-AI ideology into it, which is also new for these types of groups.
It is interesting. And what do you make of the Zizian leader being connected with so many deaths at this point? Is there anything that's standing out to you? And I know you've also said that you think law enforcement will have a very difficult time finding this Zizian leader. Tell me why.
I think there's a couple facets to that. I think the first, you mentioned that she had faked her own death back in 2022. When you read about that faking of her own death, her mom was essentially in on this, if you will, wrote an obituary. She was with her sister when this disappearance occurred. So in my opinion, there's sort of family buy-in, if you will, towards this situation. Obviously, that hasn't been confirmed. It's just what it appears. Also, with the understanding that they have of computer science and technology, I am worried that they will be one step ahead of local and federal law enforcement when it comes to technology, which is how so many people these days are caught. Also, when she was arrested back in, I believe, 2023, she knew not to open her eyes in front of the police booking camera and not to speak at all. So this is someone who, in my opinion, knows how to really circumvent the law.
That's fascinating. Tell me about that photo we see with her eyes shut. Why did what was she trying to accomplish by not opening her eyes during that booking photo?
In my opinion, again, this is just my opinion, Natasha, I believe that she is interested in sort of this optical nerve technology, right? Being able to scan people's eyes and obtain their identities. Obviously, eye is a very difficult thing to fake and get rid of. So that would be something that could identify her.
That's fascinating. And the murder occurred almost a month ago. What do you make of the FBI and law enforcement keeping a relatively tight lid on this? Do you agree with that move?
Yes and no. Maybe there is some technological way that they are trying to locate her, but I am surprised that we really haven't heard about this for the past month, because I would think if you are in sort of this nationwide search, if you will, you want really all eyes on this individual.
Tracy Walder, appreciate it as always. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Natasha.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen, and don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.